Hey folks, Roy here. I just wanted to share with you a few things here in this video regarding this road bike. Three main things, and I'll probably throw in a couple things unnecessarily as I usually do. But just my journey and ergonomics in getting this road bike to fit me. I want to review these gravel bars that I picked up, drop bars. I'm really liking these things even with only about 10 miles on them. I think they're going to be fantastic. I've been tweaking them the last couple of days. I'm getting ready to wrap them. And then finally talk about my opinion on wrapping and how I'm going to wrap and some things I don't recall hearing in the 20 some odd how to wrap bars videos on YouTube. So first of all, real quick, I picked this Fuji road bike up used on Craigslist, no, not Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace. I was real speculative because it's a 64 centimeter. Now I know a 64 centimeter from one manufacturer to the other is not really the same. I always thought I was in the 60 centimeter range based on where I've come from, but I haven't ridden a road bike since 2002. That was a 60-ish centimeter Choach from the early 80s. Columbus steel, love that bike, wish I would have never sold it. Before that, 93 was Schwinn Paramount. It was a 60 centimeter. And finally, before that, I had a cobbled together steel, old Raleigh steel bike when I was a teenager before the military. And I don't know what size it was. It felt like a 64, and I really should have been on a 58 at that time, maybe, or 59 or whatever. So I went, check this out, okay, real quick. I wrote it and thought, hey, this has potential, okay? But here's the deal, guys. Here's the deal. What did I do with that stem? So this thing had this stem on it. Look at this stem. I'm going to place it over. You can see that. A lot larger stem. This was about 120 millimeter stem. It's absolutely monstrous reach. Very nice finish too. Not a marking one on it. Very good quality. No branding anywhere on this stem. Of course, it had Ritchie bars. It's got Ritchie wheel sets on it and stuff. And everything was factory on this bike. By the way, this is a 2004 and it's in immaculate condition for 2004. It had the original Campy cable housings, internal cables, everything. I don't know what the guy did with this bike, if he ever rode it, or it just went in storage and never rode it. It did not come with these Wellgo SPDs. That's because I ride SPDs over on that Specialized mountain bike. But anyway, large stem. My reach was monstrous. It just was not comfortable. And then it had these 460 millimeter drop bars, Ergo drop bars by Ritchie. And let me tell you, first of all, as far as the width, they're okay. But I think I could go a little, just a wee bit narrower to bring my width and grip inward some to help with the reach, actually help the bend a little bit on my arms. But this Ergo drop, I never use this drop, ever. It's absolute rubbish. I just could never get comfortable with these bars. Could not get comfortable with these bars. So here I am, you know, pushing 50. I'm not as nimble and flexible as I used to be. I used to be in the tuck position, you know, want to look fast, want to feel fast, want to go fast. Now I'm in more of a comfort setup. I think in my road bikes before, the top of my handlebars were roughly here. I've got these set up to where they're right about here, right about there. So anyway, extra spacer on the steer tube here, brought that up 5 millimeters, knocked it down 10 millimeters. So this is 100 millimeter here, about the same rise. And then I used those same bars that I showed you. It just wasn't working. So everything else was working though. Seat position, all of that was working. I needed to get a little more rise, little better ergonomics on the drop bars. So here comes the second part. these new drop bars. These are gravel bars by Surly. Not gravel, I'm sorry. I think you can call them gravel bars. They are called the Truck Stop Bar by Surly. And I got the 450 because the 480 would have been way too wide and I would have lost, or I would have gained further reach, and I didn't want to do that. So this is those bars. Here they are from the side. I don't know if this would help or not to do something like that. So try to get that even. There we go. And here's the front. And that's the part that really makes them stand out. So you got a 30 millimeter rise here. 30 millimeter from center line to center line, here to here, is 30 millimeter. Also, additionally, the flare is not that aggressive. It's not that bad. But let me tell you guys, in the process of tweaking and all of this, these Campagnolo levers, brifters, I didn't realize this, but I looked at their documentation, their PDF for these, and there's a spacer underneath here. This is what it looks like. And just for anyone that has them, if they put them back together and wondered, you know, I guess it's just part of it, you need to install it. No, you don't. This is a spacer that further moves the shifter further out for extra large hands. Well, I wear a size large glove, but I didn't want more distance this way away from my saddle, okay? So I actually was able to bring this in about 5 millimeter by removing those spacers on either side. Just a little tidbit there, a little side. So I got about 10 miles, did tons of tweaking. That's why I have zip ties here. Tweaking, rotating bar, tweaking. This is fantastic. I love these bars. They feel great. Furthermore, in the drops, oh my goodness. Holy crap, guys. I can actually use my drops now. They feel great. When I get into some power strokes, I'm down here on these bars. It's fantastic. There are some areas for improvement, in my opinion. In my opinion, if I was designing these drop bars, I would add an inch. What I feel, of course, without it being wrapped, it might feel different wrapped. Maybe I won't bother with this, but the back of my palm is right on this edge, and I felt like I could use an extra inch here, 3/4 inch. Furthermore, I would have actually did a little tiny leveling there, just a bend to bring it level, just a slight bend, because of the angle. Well, of course, you know, I can rotate these bars to where this is parallel with the ground, but when I do that, this rise is now going that way. So it's subtracting from the actual height increase and increasing the reach distance. I wanted to maintain reach distance equal and maximize the rise. So that's where they're at, but that feels good. That feels fine. So the only feedback, the only negative here, and it's very, very minor, a little bit longer here, and if they would have just flared that up just a little bit. But other than that, fantastic. I love these, the Surly truck stop bars. Got them in the 450, okay? Again, here's the packaging. 420 millimeter, 450, and 480 millimeter, okay? All right, here we go. I don't know if you guys want that or not, but there's some information there. HB 6278. Okay, finally I'm going to start wrapping these bars tonight, okay? Now, for the most part, most people say bottom to top. And the reason bottom to top is so that lip, especially up here, is not facing this way. Okay, let me go back to wide here. So that lip is not facing this way. And as you grip and push down, it'll want to roll the lip. Okay. Of course, whenever you come to finish it, there's an angle cut method, and then you tape it with electrical tape or the finishing tape. Or I'm going to use this Easy Fuse silicone tape. Never used it before, but I think it's going to work the best. If you wrap from top to bottom, it's clean. No tape needed. The problem is it'll roll, okay? So I'm going to do, now, let's stop there. Top to bottom is still a fantastic option if you went with the old school tape, which is real thin, like plastic tape. Almost just like packaging tape without the adhesive on it, you know, that thick. It's very thin. Or if you're going to use something like cloth tape, really thin cloth tape like this. This is a hockey bar tape, and I believe this pack, this is on Amazon, fantastic buy. 2-pack. I mean, the roll is huge, but I used it for a different project on the mountain bike. But this is great stuff. Yeah, top to bottom, this will work. Even then, you still got that lip, and it's probably best to go bottom up. But back in the day, you know, I guess they did that for cleaner looks and got away with it. It worked fine. Additionally, when you come up and you start wrapping, I'm going to wrap inboard, so counterclockwise on the right, inboard on the bottom, clockwise on the left. You come up here, you end up doing what's called a figure 8. All right, you end up doing what's called a figure 8. And what ends up happening in that figure 8, a little triangle of this chrome clamp is exposed. Ooh, boo, you missed a spot, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's what these little inserts are for, right? That come with your bar tape. I got some SRAM bar tape here. Put that in there. Bam, tape, you know, cut it down a little bit. You don't need that much. Bam, and then do your figure 8 and you're great. And that's really not a bad way. If you wanted to be really anal about it though and say, hey, I've got too much buildup here on the back. I don't want this to be built up so big with this tape and then doing the figure 8 on top of it. Well, if you're doing a solid color like black, this hockey tape comes in a few primary colors, white, whatever. I'm using black, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to dress this area with my bar tape. I'm going to dress this area with the bar tape. Wrap it nice. In addition to that, I'm going to actually add this piece underneath my hood, because here's what's going to happen. Okay, I'm going to add it underneath the hood here, a piece of this underneath the hood. I'm sorry, I need to watch what I'm filming. Piece of this foam underneath that hood. Tuck it up underneath there, right? And then I'm going to use this tape to tape a little bit over it and to get this covered. Well, two main reasons why I'm doing this. Cover the metal part, build this up a little bit so there's some padding underneath this, because here's what's going to happen. I've got these gel pads. This is from Planet Bike, but I think Sinelli sells them, or some other brand sells it, right? And they're shaped so they go right here and on the drop right here, okay? What's going to happen is when I wrap this area here is going to raise, you know, a good amount. And it's going to feel like I'm coming here, and then there's going to be a sharp drop off onto this hood. So I'm going to pad the hood and bring the hood up. I think that will help. Okay? And then finally, like I said, once you do that figure 8, then you're going to be wrapping towards the rider. Okay? And the overlap, the ridge, you'll be falling off the ridges, the edges, as you push this way. Furthermore, as you grab this top and rotate to grip, you're going to be doing it in the direction of the wrap, so it's tightening the wrap. That's fundamental there. And then finally, for up here, I'm going to use Easy Fuse by Superglue. Easy Fuse silicone tape. No residue. You do wrap it like electrical tape, which is tight for the first couple of wraps, and then at the last few inches, 2 inches or so, just a loose lay down, and then that silicone, it's a self-fusing, womanizing type rubber, and it'll adhere to itself with no residue. So that's how I'm wrapping the bars. Some of the ideas that I'm thinking about that I did not see on video. A little bit about the bars, highly recommend them. And then a little bit about this bike. And like I said, one more thing I'm going to throw in here that I didn't say I would, but I knew I would anyway, right? Cables, right? I've been buying several Jaguar stainless steel cables, which I think are coated. And I'm having the hardest time, the damnedest time, trying to... So I'll snip this cable. This is a new cable. See how long it is. I'll probably snip it for service about right here. I hate using the crimps because then you can't pull it back through the cable housing if you ever needed to do that. You got to clip it off and you keep losing distance. I've always soldered the end. Man, I use a little butane torch and torch the end of it to burn any coating off of it, then clean it up good, flux it well. I still can't get the damn cable tinned. So, any of you out there successfully tinning brake and shift cables, please comment. Tell me what you're doing to get it done right. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. Highly recommend Surly truck stop bars. All right, starting the wrap process. Now I'm applying the gel inserts here on the flared drop on the right side, and then I'll do the curved one up at the top. You can see there with the black hockey tape, I covered the silver clamp, and I also added, you could just barely make out underneath the hood there, and I pushed it all the way forward with a screwdriver, as far forward as I could, trimmed it, and then took out the adhesive on the closest side here to the tape, because if I had taken the adhesive off prior to inserting it, it would have grabbed too much. So hopefully that will give some extra padding under the hood. All right, final product here. They're all wrapped. This silicone fusing tape, Easy Fuse tape by Super Glue. It's the strangest shit. It's almost just like non-sticky thin rubber sheet. Like, how the hell is this going to stick? But as long as you wrap it onto itself, keep the first wraps tight. Getting that first loop is hard because you can't land it on something and have it stick to pull. So you've got to land it and hold it, and then with the other hand wrap tight and bridge it. Once it makes that bridge in contact, you wrap tight, and then at least 3/4 of a wrap loose, and I have that going underneath. But anyhow, again, I just did the figure 8, but you can see the cloth. That would normally be a silver clamp right there. It's more visible on this side when I did the figure 8. And I'm okay with that. I really don't care. I don't have a lot of bulk built up here. This is a shallow drop bar anyway, so I didn't want to bulk that up too much. Over here, it's far better. It's a smaller triangle there, but again, the cloth wrap. I also used the cloth wrap on top of the gel pieces. I didn't stretch it tight to pre-compress the gel, so I made a loose wrap. That kept the gel in place, I think, better. I always hate the end caps. I hate dealing with those. They always drive me nuts because I'm sort of a perfectionist. But again, the way I did this is I wrapped inboard, okay, because of my grip. Some might say you grip out this way. I don't know. I seem to always grip in the direction of my thumb. Same here. Same here. But again, you see the ridge is falling off as you push down towards the hood, which is indicative of the bottom up wrap. Also, I did add that other padding here underneath here, so there's padding here and there's less of a hump. It's not higher here and lower here. I tried to make that transition as level as possible. All done. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the tips. Later.